Anytime I can share the clock with a man from the Empire State's a privilege. So thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, it complements, we're dealing everything from commodities markets, digital assets, to rural development. There's a lot to get through here in 5 minutes, so we're going to jump right into this. Mr. Holmes, appreciate everything you've highlighted. You've seen one water system. There's 50,000 out there that you have not seen. Challenge that we have, with a background in cybersecurity, hackers accessed the California water treatment plant's computer system recently and deleted critical information. Just 1 week later, a second water treatment plant in Florida was hacked. In this case, the hacker accessed the plant's software program and drastically increased the amount of sodium hydroxide from 100 parts per million to over 11,000 parts per million. Now, this type of attack not only is very dangerous, it can be deadly. And in our rural communities, the Circuit Rider program is set up to help address a number of the concerns. Talk to me specifically what can happen to a rural water plant and how it can decimate particularly a rural community if a cyber attack occurs.
Thank you, Mr. Congressman, and thank you for your leadership on the cyber issue. The rural communities are vulnerable. We mentioned earlier they're simply not prepared to address cyber threats. We believe that this should be a shared responsibility. Consulting engineers and folks that are building these systems, frankly, are installing SCADA and remote system controls that are not cyber prepared. However, all of that responsibility falls on one person often in these utilities. Fortunately, in the case in Florida, that one person noticed finally that those controls had been changed. But if they had not, that would have been a dramatic threat that would have impacted public health.
I think you absolutely nail it on the head, and this is why Representative Don Davis, my colleague from North Carolina, a Democrat, myself as a Republican on this side of the aisle, have said this is a bipartisan issue. It's something we need to tackle. And the hope here is that with this type of legislation, that one person isn't on the hook for trying to identify everything. They can reach back into a system that can be provided so that you have the expertise at the time of the emergency to truly go after and address these. I appreciate your leadership in helping craft that legislation. Hopefully that's something we can see move forward. Mr. Wilson, I want to talk a little bit on the electric grid here. We talk a lot about uncertainty in this committee, largely since that is the nature of agriculture. One cause for concern here is the reliability of our electric grid. In your testimony, you explained how the rural utility service programs are providing reliable and affordable electric services, particularly to my folks on Rural Route 1. Moving forward, how can we best prepare for future demands of a robust electric grid?
Great question, Congressman. The RUS program is fundamental to infrastructure investment for cooperatives in rural America. Aside from that, any tools in the toolbox that give us accessibility and flexibility to funds that can diversify our power supply mix into the future and meet our demand are important as well. At Brunswick Electric, we rely on firm, dispatchable resources, those being nuclear, natural gas. But the technologies of tomorrow might not necessarily be the ones of today, and we're looking to be diverse and minimize our risk in terms of financial risk or reliability risk into the future.
Very good. One of the things in my state of Iowa that's so important is rural infrastructure. It's that farm-to-market road, it's the bridge, it's the investment that my concrete guy's making, it's the investment that my farmer's making on building a new facility. With that, I'm also from a little place called Des Moines, which has one of the largest financial institutions in the world. Doesn't matter whether you're a community bank or a local credit union. One of the obstacles they've shared with me time and time again is the time it takes for a loan to be approved. Now, Ms. Nesbitt, one of the things I'd like to ask you is farmers have experienced inconsistent loan approvals from state to state. Does the National Rural Lenders Association share these concerns? And if so, what impact is it having on borrowers right now for building those core things that we need?
Thank you for the question. We do share those concerns. Just throughout the federal government, USDA Rural Development has attrition programs, retirement, experienced people who are no longer with the agency. So there are many states and local offices who do a wonderful job processing applications. If some of those best practices could be replicated in other states and working on operational efficiencies while taking on new programs is also a concern. But we stand ready to help in any way we can to suggest solutions for that.
I appreciate that. I also want to thank you in particular here. Some of the program and flexibility that you've incorporated into the biorefinery assistance program, hugely helpful for my soy and corn growers back in the great state of Iowa. Thank you, Mr. Chair. With that, I yield my time.